Undoubtedly, the hardest part of a separation is when the couple have children. Both of the parents love their children equally, and neither of them can really bear the thought of not seeing them on a day-to-day basis. So how can this problem be resolved, both for the parents and the children? Well, I'm here with Imran Khodabocus, who's an expert in this area, and he's going to talk through some of the things that he gets asked on a regular basis. Now, Imran is an expert in guiding clients through this process, always encouraging them to put the children's best interests at heart, even when the relationship has ended acrimoniously. So, hi, Imran.
Hi.
Could you start by telling us some of the legal rights that separated parents have?
Sure. There's something called parental responsibility, and the mother of the child always has that, and the other parent will have that if, for example, they were married to the mother or they have subsequently inherited it. What that means on a practical level is that it means you can be involved in that child's life quite fully. For example, you can participate in decisions involving the child's schooling, education, any health issues. So it gives you those rights, and you have those even if you separate.
Okay, and what are the different types of arrangements that might be agreed?
There are many types of arrangements. They can involve where a child will spend time with one parent at the weekend or during the week, or they can involve a child spending more time, something called a shared care arrangement. But that really does depend on the child's individual circumstances as to which one fits your family better.
And what types of things are taken into consideration when they're making a decision about who the child should live with, and also how many hours or when the contact can be for the other parent?
Well, there's actually only one thing that really matters, and that's actually what is in the child's best interest. That's the paramount consideration of the court. But to help the court reach that decision, it goes through something called a checklist, a welfare checklist. And they include, is the child going to be at risk of harm if he or she spends time with the other parent? Is the other parent able to meet that child's needs? What are the child's wishes and feelings if they're older? Is change going to be detrimental? So there's a big list of things that the court goes through.
Okay, and what if the parents can't agree?
If the parents can't agree, the first thing to do is to see if you can try and reach an agreement outside of court. And that's now required. Something called mediation now applies. Now, there are exceptions to that. For example, if you are the victim of domestic violence. If that's not appropriate or it doesn't work, then the only alternative is to apply to the court for something called a child arrangements order. We are asking the court to come in and help set up an order about where the child lives or how much time the child spends with that parent.
Okay. And it seems like sometimes the courts order on a regular basis that the child should live with the mum. Is it often that the father gets overlooked?
I wouldn't say the father gets overlooked. There was a time where the child did live with the mother more often, but that's changed. And there are a couple of reasons for that. The first is that it's now law that the involvement of both parents in the child's life is going to be better for that child's development, unless there's a reason where that won't apply. And the other reason is actually something called shared care arrangements, where you are seeing more and more children spending time in two different households. Even if it's not 50-50, that's becoming more and more common. So there is a real shift now.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, the separation's happened and the child is living with one of the parents. Can you tell us a little bit about the legal rights that both the parent that the child is living with have and also the parent that they're not?
Well, we come back to that key phrase of parental responsibility, in that you don't lose that if you have it when you separate. So that means you have a full right to have an input in the child's schooling, religion, serious health issues. So you don't lose those rights. And so even if you have separated, you can still be part of that child's life.
Okay, and if there is a dispute about this, is there a possibility that maybe the parent that the child isn't living with will be able to get them to live with them in the future?
Absolutely, and not just live with them, maybe spend more time with them. Mm-hmm. And when thinking about that, there are some things that a parent can do. For example, be committed. So if you say you're going to be at a certain place at a certain time, try and not be late. Try and make contact as enjoyable as you can. Be realistic with what you're proposing. Can you really commit to a child living with you? Are you going to be able to get that child to school? But one of the things I always try and impress upon clients is to actually try and put your, try and see things from the child's perspective, because that's what really matters. Is that child going to miss spending time with someone else? How would that child feel with your proposal? So there are some things that you can do to try and improve your chances of getting the kind of contact that you want.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time. So, as we said, it's one of the worst things of a separation when a child is involved, but Imran has made very, very clear to us that putting the child's interest at heart is everything, putting yourself in the child's shoes when you're making the arrangements. So it's the parent's responsibility to make sure that this happens and try to find an amicable solution. But in some cases where perhaps that isn't possible, it's really important that you go and seek legal support from an expert.